It's a reshuffled Hearts with Neil McCann and Thomas Flugel injured, Stefano Salvatore left out, and Paul Ritchie back after suspension. Stephen Presley keeps his place, Rob McKinnon starts his first competitive match for Hearts, and Jose Quitongo gets the call. It's a new look midfield with Gary Locke pushed forward and former Motherwell left-back McKinnon making up a middle three with Steve Fulton. Quitongo will start on the left wing, but with some freedom to roam. Stephen Presley was impressive in the midweek League Cup defeat of Wraith Rovers, but Ritchie's return means he'll play at right back. One of his former teammates at Dundee United, Mark Perry, is now an Aberdeen player, and he won't forget his first goal for his new club, that spectacular opener against Celtic last Sunday. Aberdeen to make changes as well. David Rowson is suspended and Russell Anderson is out injured. Ilian Kyriakov is left on the bench. Jamie Buchan is recalled, and midweek subs Ricky Gillis and Andy Dower in from kick-off. Buchan will play right back in place of Anderson. Gillis and Dower are the wide players in the midfield, and that frees Ian Jess to link with main striker Billy Dodds. The referee for Hearts Aberdeen is Jim McCluskey. Aberdeen kick off, and they'll be casting some envious glances in the direction of this Hearts team, who've become the third force in Scottish football outside the Old Firm, as Stephen Presley gets an early free kick. That is the sort of level that Aberdeen themselves aspire to. Their standards have dipped in recent seasons, and Alec Miller is desperate to put them back at the top end in Scottish football. That's his big ambition. 9 months in charge so far. He's got a big job to do, but things seem to be moving in the right direction. Some tidying up work here for Derek White. Closed down very quickly by Stefan Adam. He works so hard. Unloaded this time by Derek White, but in among the Hearts supporters in the main stand. Gary Locke on the ball, gets it back from Steve Fulton. David Weir. Charged down by Andy Dow, that's Presley's pass. Again cut out by White. Stefan Adam, one possibility for Gary Locke, but opting instead for the left foot of Fulton. That's for Quitongo, to climb high to get the header. And Rob McKinnon's effort came off Ricky Gillis, and the first corner kick of the match. Determined play there from McKinnon. Quitongo did so well to get on the end of this, and then first time from McKinnon. Jim Jeffries talking it through with Billy Brown and Peter Houston alongside him. Lofted up for Hamilton. That was Perry's header. Here's Quitongo. Beaten by Hignett. Given away by Gillis. Naismith and Fulton. Stephen Presley's made a good run. And in the way was Andy Dow. Good play from Dow. Now Hignett. Quick counter-attacking possibility here for Aberdeen. Jess is up ahead of him. Now Gillis. Dodds at the far post. Well cleared by Gary Locke. Not the most hurtful ball into the box by Gillis. It was well defended by the Hearts skipper. Now Quitongo, twisting infield away from Buchan. The flick from Fulton, gets it back on the left foot. And Steve Fulton gets Hearts lead. 6 minutes gone. That's a beauty from Fulton. He had the time and the room at the edge of the box. It was swerving, and it dipped over the top of Jim Leighton. Could build up this from Hearts. Quitongo involved, then the 1-2 between Fulton and Adam, controlled on the chest and buried in the net behind Leighton. It's 1-0. Long ball for Billy Dodds. First touch not the best, but he did manage to control it. Now Hignett, quickly on to Ian Jess. Comfortable with the ball at his feet. Perry, Hignett again. Opening play out, giving Jamie Buchan some room. It's Hignett again, well left. Looking for the return pass as well from Jess. Might find its way through. Hignett bundled over. More hopeful than anything else from Aberdeen. Long from Naismith for Adam, beaten by Ingles. It's well won by Rob McKinnon. Depriving Mark Perry of possession. And then the foul by Ingles on Adam. John Ingles voicing a protest. But that looked the right decision from Jim McCluskey. Possibilities again for Hearts, and Jim Layton is watchful in the line. In from Fulton, looking for Stefan Adam. Pete Layton's lost it! And Stephen Presley scores his first goal for Hearts. It's a blunder by the Scotland goalkeeper. 11 and a half minutes gone, and Hearts are 2 up. Stefan Adam got his head to it. He came off Derek White as well. Layton looked to have it, then he lost it. And loitering with Stephen Presley, he hammered this into the roof of the net. Good defending from Naismith against Gillis. Neat skills from Kitongo, which deceived Jamie Buchan. Kitongo again. Chased by Jess and by Ingles. Good ball in. And knocked behind by Derek White. How the Hearts supporters enjoyed that burst from Jose Kitongo. Great pace, and he's so elusive as well at the end of it. Dangerous ball in. Reshuffled Hearts back four, looking very comfortable with Presley, who played central defence in the midweek, back out at right back, and Paul Ritchie in his customary position. And also threatening going forward. Here's Gary Locke, and Jim Hamilton might well have left that. He holds his arms out, clearly saying there was no shout in behind him from Jose Kitongo, who was in a much better position. And if Hamilton had left this, we might well have been talking about a third Hearts goal. Hignett with Fulton, very close. Played himself out of that well. Craig Hignett gets it back to Mark Perry. Now the long ball for Billy Dodds. David Weir's header. Bob McKinnon comes to collect. Nice turn away from Ricky Gillis. Play that ball wide of Buchan. Get Kitongo moving again down the left-hand side. Good challenge by Gary Naismith. Jim Hamilton rolls it through. John Ingles got a touch, not enough. Collected by Adam. Breaks for Hamilton. Kitongo. Still on the ball. Kitongo! Good effort. Stephan Adam was outside him on the left-hand side. Kitongo chose to ignore him. It was the right decision because this was a good crack at goal. Jim Layton flung himself at it, but it was a foot or so too high. Good pressuring from Billy Dodds. Jess to Dow. Back now for Hignett. Craig Hignett. Curling effort. Too high. He certainly looks the most threatening player for Aberdeen at the moment. When the ball's at his feet, you get the feeling something might happen. Hignett, good ball for Billy Dodds. One touch to control it, but taken away from him by David Weir and kept in by Rousset. Billy Dodds had a chance there. He pulled the ball down well enough, but it needed a quick shot at goal as well, covering from Stephen Presley and from Weir. Dow, well-timed run by Billy Dodds, keeping himself onside against Ritchie. Came off the Aberdeen striker. Again, a very calm bit of defending from Ritchie, and wins the goal kick. Happy Hearts fans, 2 up on their team in the quarterfinals of the League Cup as well. 4 points from their first 2 league games. Neat flick from Kitongo for McKinnon. Naismith to Fulton. McKinnon, he knew Naismith was coming on the outside. Good far post cross, coming in was Hamilton, nodded behind by Gary Smith. Jim Hamilton was the threat at the far post. Hearts' top scorer last season with 15, Hamilton. And not far away from this. Alec Miller was less than impressed with his Aberdeen side at Easter Road on Wednesday night. And their second trip to the capital inside 5 days is not looking too promising at the moment. Craig Hignett, busy player in the middle, trying to get things to happen. It's the Hearts players who are the more impressive at the moment. And none more impressive in his first half than Gary Naismith. Here he comes again. McKinnon up ahead of him, Adam and Hamilton as well. And the shots from Naismith. It was all opening up in front of him. As he considered a pass, he thought, well, why not have a shot at goal? Ian Jess has made a run through the middle. Ricky Gillis is along the touchline from Bakken. The Jess touch. Billy Dodds was eased off the ball by Steve Fulton. And you got the feeling that he was about to dish out some retribution there, which he did on Steve Fulton. And a yellow card for Billy Dodds. Looked for this challenge. That might well have been a foul by Fulton on Dodds. Didn't go his way. And then came the tackle from behind. Hignett robbed by Fulton. Billy Dodds got the flick. Tidied up. Just about. And cleared by Weir. Good play from Ian Jess. Determined play in the area. Doing his best to unsettle the Hearts' defence. Hasn't happened too much so far. Eddie to Hignett. Some width offered by Ricky Gillis. And some room on the far side for Andy Dow. A chance there for Aberdeen to make something happen. Penny and Dodds were along the 6-yard box. And Andy Dow might have thought there was a chance of this nestling in the back of the net. He tried to swerve it in. Doesn't look too happy, does he? Andy Dow, one of Aberdeen's better players in this first half. In for Jess, that's for Dodds. Gary Smith, back to Dodds. And a header from Gary Naismith, producing a spectacular save from Gilles Rousset. He knew that Ricky Gillis was in behind him, and he had to deal with that. And it's somewhat ironic. The biggest test of Rousset in this first half has come from one of his own players. It is Gillis. And knocked away firstly by Presley, then by Hamilton. A few uncertain moments in the Hearts box. And despite the roars from the Hearts supporters, play goes on. They didn't like that challenge that was aimed at Jose Kitongo. Well won, combination of Weir and Fulton. Adam. Presley for Hamilton. Back half length of the pitch to Rousset. It came off Billy Dodds. Rousset claimed handball. And here's the make your mind up time. And fair enough. Dodds had his hands up, protecting his face. Free kick. very much on top. And it was Steve Fulton who gave them the lead. Hearts were ahead after just 6 minutes of the match. And they've been pretty much in control ever since. Stephen Presley lead at 2. And Aberdeen have not been able to do much about it. Goal number 1 from Fulton, outside the area. Played a nice one too with Stefan Adam. Spotted Jim Leighton a couple of yards off his line and lofted that left foot volley over his head. His second goal in the space of a few days, Fulton. This was number 2, a mistake by Leighton. He had it, he lost it, and he wasn't happy as he watched Stephen Presley hammering in his first goal for his new club. Hearts very much in the driving seat at Tynecastle. It's Hearts 2, Aberdeen 0. Hearts get the match restarted. They really want to move forward to another level. Having won the Tennant Scottish Cup in May, they will see themselves as serious title contenders. Jim Hamilton's down for Hearts. That's a concern right at the start of the second half. Here's Hignett and Gillis. Good burst from Ricky Gillis. What a good effort that was. Inside 30 seconds of the second half. A warning here from Aberdeen. And they might just battle away back into it. The outside of the right foot of Ricky Gillis, not far away. Here's Presley. Hamilton, Adam and Kitongo all around the edge of the area. Stefan Adam has made a good run and couldn't quite pull it back from the byline. Well, that was clever play, used his body well to get away from Derek White. Just eased him off it, and not quite. Jess. First time from Gary Smith. Cleared by McKinnon. Back in from Derek White. Ritchie's header. It drops for Ricky Gillis. Didn't strike it properly. Well, but did still have Gilles Rousset scrambling along the line. Paul Ritchie was forced into the header by Billy Dodd. Dropped for Gillis. Off target. Presley's header. A long ball from Smith. It's a good flick from Presley. And from Gary Locke. Gets it back from Jim Hamilton. Lovely linking play. Adam and Kitongo in the middle. Buchan's clearance. It drops for Jim Hamilton. Saved by Jim Leighton. Jim Leighton shaking his head because that was probably heading wide. He still felt he had to make the save. What is in no doubt is that this was a top quality attacking move from Hearts. Dangerous ball in, firstly from Locke, cleared by Buchan. Then it was Jim Hamilton's header, which forced the save from Leighton. It was unnecessary, but he felt he had to make it. Corner kick. Here comes Leighton again. Gary Smith got the header. There's Kitongo. And now Hignett. Very elaborate outside his own penalty area. Possession back with Hearts. McKinnon to Adam. Having a crack at goal. Adam came off Buchan. Another corner kick. Up to increase the Hearts' attacking threat. Stephen Presley. Paul Ritchie you see as well there on the goal line. And David Weir at the far post alongside Presley. Adam over the corner kick. Flicked away by Perry. His former teammate Presley was in behind him. Jess in a hurry to take the throw. Craig Hignett's got himself away from Steve Fulton. Ricky Gillis. was always facing an uphill struggle there to try to retrieve the pass. A long throw from Naismith, missed by Hamilton. That was Buchan. Hooked out of play by Jim Hamilton. Dispossessed by Steve Fulton. Fulton trying immediately to put the ball in front of Stefan Adam. Smith's reverse pass. Bad first touch from Andy Dow. In was Presley. It's through for Adam, out comes Jim Layton. Meantime, the Hearts supporters are roaring about an off-the-ball incident involving Gary Locke. Locke made the challenge there against Gary Smith. Now, when Smith went away, they reckon, the Hearts supporters and Locke, that Gary Smith stamped on the Hearts skipper on the way past. And whether there was is up to the observer, and Smith booked by Jim McCluskey. Hignett taking the ball in a very deep position. Now Jess. These are the two that Aberdeen look to pull the strings in the middle, create chances, and possibly take them as well. Jess forced away from the danger area by Fulton. Now Hignett. And Jess against David Weir. Always looked comfortably in control of that, Weir. Jess was an undoubted threat here. But Scotland defender Weir just happy to let this run through to his goalkeeper. Buchan's pass finding Jess. Now Gillis. Beaten by Gary Naismith's challenge, and Naismith has taken a knock in the back. Locke, Fulton, and now Presley pushing up. Oh, that's a desperate challenge by Gary Smith, and he'll be in big trouble here. The boot was raised. A boot in the face of Stephen Presley, and this must surely be the end of the match for Gary Smith. You would say a shade fortunate earlier to escape with a yellow card after that alleged stamping incident involving Gary Locke. And now Gary Smith, having seen yellow already, will be sent off. Second yellow, and that means red for Gary Smith. And Alec Miller's team already 2 goals down, now down to 10 men. Smith's off. An atrocious challenge this from Gary Smith. It was more like kung fu than football. And impossible to put up any sort of defence for that. Steve Fulton. Gary Locke. Dow did well. Hignett, a long ball for Billy Dodds. Swaying out wide for Dodds. But he does win a corner kick. Actually on the way at the moment, but Aberdeen are going to pull a goal back. Is by a quick counter-attack and a long ball. That came off Paul Ritchie. In from Ian Jess. David Weir's header. Kiriakov. Fulton. Back to the Bulgarian. Another miscue from Fulton. Derek White, not renowned for his scoring prowess, and sliced away off the outside of his left foot. And not close to Rousset. But any crack at goal from an Aberdeen point of view has to be worthwhile as they try to give themselves hope. Good play from McKinnon, getting between Hignett and Kiriakov. Fulton's pass for Presley. Gary Locke tucked in behind him. And now Fulton again. It's had a quiet spell, Fulton, and now he's starting to make things happen again for Hearts. In from Presley. And Jim Hamilton's header. Couldn't keep it down. It was a good late run. And he was well found as well by the pull back from Presley. Jamie Buchan does well. Perry, Kiriakov. Craig Hignett making a run up ahead. There's Jess. Bringing Buchan back into the play. Slipped as he played the pass, but finds its way through to Perry. Craig Hignett. Struck it well, but didn't really get over the top of the shot. And a yellow card there for Craig Hignett. Presumably for something he said, as frustration takes over. Ritchie and Weir combining. Such a good central defensive partnership. That's why Stephen Presley can't break into the side in central defence, and here he is at right back, pushing up. Tackled well though by Andy Dow. It's for Young, beaten by Weir. Gary Locke. Chance here for Jim Hamilton. It was a lazy effort, really. He didn't get over the shot. And that meant he didn't force Jim Leighton into a save. Good ball from Locke, and there was time here for Hamilton. Stephen Presley. Steve Fulton thinking about a shot. Then the pass for Kitongo. Back for Gary Locke. Almost queuing up at the edge of the area. And in the end, a left footer, which was always heading wide. Hearts couldn't quite decide here who was going to take the pot shot at goal. In the end, it was the captain. Inside the last 2 minutes, plus a bit of stoppage time to be added. Aberdeen playing passes in the middle. But for them today, not much at the end of the passes. Lovely ball from Hignett. Kiriakov. Jim Hamilton doing the defending. In from Buchan. Good header by Derek Young. That will be encouraging for the teenager. Viewed at Pittodrie as a real prospect. And doing well to get on the end of the cross ball. Kitongo squares it for Gary Locke. A good hit from Locke, and well saved by Jim Leighton. He was very much behind this, Leighton. He was swerving. Dodds and Young are up for Aberdeen. Kiriakov as well. Here is Dodds. Kiriakov, and that's a good strike by Hignett. Saved by Rousset. He does hit the ball very cleanly, Hignett. This wanted to be a bit wider to have fully tested the goalkeeper. Holmes with the knockdown for Kitongo. Can Hearts manage a third right at the end? Salvatore. That's full time. And another 3 Premier points for Hearts. And a very conclusive victory against a team they would have expected to have proved stiff opposition today. And the Aberdeen challenge was killed off very early on. Jose Kitongo, one of several stars in the Hearts side this afternoon, and a disconsolate Jim Leighton trudges off there Beaten after 6 minutes by a dipping volley from Steve Fulton, and beaten again when he spilled the ball inside his own 6-yarder, and it was knocked in by Stephen Presley. So David Weir and the Hearts team will be very happy indeed against an Aberdeen side reduced to 10 men in the second half after the sending off of Gary Smith. Final score at Tynecastle: Hearts 2, Aberdeen 0.
Jim, you must be very pleased about your squad strength after a showing like that with key players missing.
I always said that we've tried to bring a quality squad, because if you're going to have success or keep challenging it, it has to be that strength. And when you consider Cameron, McPherson, Flugel, McCann all unavailable today, and then with players like Presley and McKinnon who just come to the club and get a chance to show today that what good players they are, and particularly Rob McKinnon, who and Stephen were both probably playing in positions they've never played for quite a while. So great strength of squad, and it helps to freshen up a wee bit.
Our confidence is still up since from last year, so we know that if we go out and work against teams, we probably will get a result. We're determined not to let it be a flash in the pan from last year, and hopefully we can prove it this year.
We are a team at present that aren't tackling, and I don't mean to be nasty or dirty, but we're not tackling. All over the pitch, we're not tackling.
Is that about desire to win the ball you're talking about?
No, I just think tackling, the art of tackling. We're not tackling, we're running with people, and it's allowing people free possession and giving them the opportunity to make passes. I think you've got to, i.e. a Stuart McCall, a David Batty type player that gets in tight to people and tackles, and I think we've got to start doing that.
You've had a lot on your mind in the last couple of weeks. How are things? It's your brother, isn't it, who's ill?
Well, it's just one of them things, you know, that happens away from football. When I come to the park and that, you know, it takes your mind off it. But he's getting better, so it was all in time for the family, but things have turned round a wee bit.
I felt that the 4 games in 9 days took its toll a wee bit in the second half, but you know, that's the time not to go chasing daft, because if you're tired, you leave gaps. But 2-0 we were comfortable, and really, I think we won fairly comfortably.
Yes, a comfortable win in the end for Hearts, and perhaps a very significant result today. But over here at Gordon's Tactics Board, there's one aspect of today's game that we can perhaps illustrate, Gordon, and that is the greater defensive alternatives available to Jim Jeffries.
That's right. But before I talk about Hearts and the way they can play, I must remember, Dougie, and put my goalkeeper in goals this week. My daughter reminded me when I got home last week that I'd left him out in the line.
I thought that was your famous overlapping goalkeeper move as well.
No, that might come eventually in football, but I haven't worked on that one enough. Yeah, what we're really seeing is Jim Jeffries had spoken about the fact that last season he just felt the squad was short and he really thought he could have won the league. And they went out in the summer and they bought 2 players, Stephen Presley, well, they brought in 2 players, Stephen Presley and Rob McKinnon. And you know, automatically they came into the team today. They hadn't been playing so far, and you wondered exactly where they're going to play. You can see from the VT here that we've actually got Hearts playing their normal 4-3 system. They get 4 across the back there and 3 in midfield. Now, we go to the board and you can see that Presley, most people would know that Stephen Presley, who played out there today as a right back, normally plays in one.
Sure, he's a central defender.
Central defender.
Principally, yeah.
But you've got a great partnership there, David Weir, and you've got Paul Ritchie there. And so Presley came in at right back. That meant Gary Locke had to change his position, and he moved into midfield. That shows you how versatile he is. And they had Stevie Fulton as a fulcrum in there making all the play. And Rob McKinnon, who's normally a left back or a wing back, was actually in the centre, well, the left of centre of midfield. So they played their normal system, Hearts, and that was considering they had players like Cameron out, they'd Flugel missing, Salvatore, Neil McCann as well, not playing today. Katongo came in the side too. So it just shows his strength and depth. Somebody like Katongo who came in, did very well today. But it didn't affect the Hearts system. They kept playing the 4-3-3. But what I'm saying to you is it does lend itself at some stage, if they want, to push the full-backs on. You'd imagine Gary Locke out there, and it means they can play with Stephen Presley in one as a centre-back, David Weir there, Paul Ritchie, and they can play like Salvatore there, Fulton in the midfield. Still go with their front 3 or tighten it up by having another man in there and playing like a 3-5-2 system. So Hearts, by bringing in these 2 players who can play in different positions, and they'll have 1 or 2 in the squad who can do that, it means it gives them more options, Dougie.
Thanks very much, Gordon. Well, let's go over and join Paul and see whether he agrees with anything of what you've been saying. Paul, good result for you today. You're now part of a bigger squad at Tynecastle. How important is it?
I think it's very important. Competition for places this season will be greater than it was last season. I think that does well for the future.
And of course, you were back in yourself. Never any doubt about that, because this partnership you've established with Big Davy Weir is working very well for you, isn't it?
I think it's grown from strength to strength over the seasons, and we've started very well this season. I think 3 goals we've conceded in 5 games so far.
There's a couple of just examples here, and it's a case you work for each other, don't you?
That's right, I think we give each other plenty of cover. We know each other's games, we know each other's strengths, and I think, as I said, as the season goes by, we're getting stronger and stronger as a partnership.
Absolutely. And Jose Katongo, of course, came in today, and a couple of examples here of little Jose. He's a great bubbly character around the club, but he's got great skill, hasn't he? Great skill, as you can see here. It's a bit fortunate here, he gets the 1-2, but this is a great piece of skill, takes it with the outside of his foot, and he's away, and Neil McCann would be proud of that, especially the cross. Yeah, that's maybe the one weakness, isn't it? He's not the greatest crosser, is he? But he's got all the trickery you could want. Also, we're noticing that in, I think, your first 7 games, taking in pre-season friendlies this season, you had 7 different scorers, and that's got to be good as well, isn't it? That's right. It proves we're not relying on the front 2. We're spreading the goals about the team, and that's good for Hearts. Yeah. Were you impressed with Hearts today, Gordon?
Yeah, I watched the full game on the tape, and I thought that Hearts did very well. They had the game tied up early on, it has to be said, but you know, we talked about their bringing in players and fitting them into that system, and it's worked really well. I mean, both Rob McKinnon and Stephen Presley played excellent football today, and it just seemed to go, Hearts seemed to go from strength to strength. And what a great first goal it was, wasn't it? A superb goal, I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, really, the smooth started. Gary Locke wins the header, coming back, defending well, gets it to Rob McKinnon. He pushes forward with it. He's good getting forward, as we know. He's done a good job at Motherwell when he was there. This is where the move really takes off. Jose Katongo cuts inside. This is a brilliant 1-2. Stefan Adam does well. Stevie Fulton takes that in his chest. He strikes that with the outside his foot. Absolutely brilliant strike, Everton. You can tell he's delighted with that. Yeah. But it didn't surprise you, Paul, did it?
No, to be fair, Stevie tries that in training, and it does prove that practice makes perfect. It's a great 1-2, and he takes it on his chest, and that's a Stevie Fulton trademark outside of the foot. Great finish. Yeah. And he cuts across it, which is brilliant. You know, he gets that little bit of slice. He's looking for slice. That's not by accident. And as he goes across it, and Jim Leighton just caught slightly off his line. Ball's dipped over him. That's right, and it's going away from him all the time as well, isn't it? No goalkeeper would have got that. Yeah. From an Aberdeen point of view, it was a disappointing day, as Alec Miller made clear, but we mentioned Craig Hignett last week, but he has the ability to hit this long, penetrating ball, which puts any team under pressure. He certainly does. The only problem about it is it makes him play pretty deep, and I think they'd want to have Hignett further forward, but he shows he's got a great all-round game. I think he's been a terrific signing, and for this season I think he'll do really, really well, but the ability to play that pass is superb. Absolutely. This cut offside here, certainly. But from a defensive point of view, Paul, you've got to be very aware of that, obviously. Definitely. You look there, he's just inside his own half, and he's pinged a great 60-yard ball over the top, and we've got to be on our toes for that. Yeah. Jim Leighton, great goalkeeper, as we all know, but sadly prone to this sort of thing. And, well, what can you say? Not a lot. Well, it shows what difference a week can make. I mean, Jim Leighton was last Sunday the hero of the day, saving the penalty and getting his side the points, and then you know, he'll be very, very annoyed about himself there. That's poor goalkeeping. But, I mean, he's 40 years of age. He doesn't do that often. That's why he's played as long, because his mistakes are cut down to a minimum. Yeah. Well taken by Big Elvis, but I don't suppose you've bought him to score goals, Paul, have you? No, we definitely haven't. It's his first goal for the club, and it was a good tackle from the big man, to be fair. But he's in there on merit. I thought he was the best player in the park on Wednesday night. He was just unfortunate. I had to play it right back today. Absolutely. On a less happy note, the final incident we've got is the sending off of Gary Smith. The booking earlier may be justified, but the incident which actually gave him a second yellow card, Gordon, there's not much you can say about it. It was a horrific assault, really, wasn't it? Well, it's a strange one here that, you know, he got a yellow card for this. I mean, this is one that could be debatable whether he actually meant that or he tried to get over him. I mean, he might say he tried to go over him, but that got me a yellow card. But look at this. I mean, Alec Miller's talking about not having tacklers in his team. You know, that's something out of a horror movie. That is horrendous. And what surprised me, Jim McCluskey, referee there, one of our best referees, decided that was a yellow card. I'm quite surprised. I thought that was violent play in itself. That should have merited, I believe, a red card, and it should have been a yellow and then a red. But that only got him. If he hadn't already had the yellow card, he would have stayed on the field after that. Yeah, it was a bad one. Just a last thought, Paul. I remember we talked to you halfway through last season, and it was only then that you were beginning to believe, Jim Jeffries and Billy Brown, that you could win the championship. I take it that you don't need to be persuaded this year. Definitely not. We proved last season that we were on no firm close. We've had a great start to the season, 3 difficult games, 2 victories and a draw, so we've started